my fellow Americans. If you think you know politics, think again. I'm Michael Cohen, and every week on When You Know, we're pulling back the curtain on power, politics, media, and the people making headlines. On my new WABC radio show, you'll hear conversations from names that you know. People like Jerry Falwell Jr., Anthony Scaramucci, Alan Dershowitz, and many, many more. Maybe, just maybe, we'll even hear from the president. No scripts, no spin, just real conversations with people who were in the room where it happened. And trust me, we've got some very big surprises coming. Look, I've spent years at the center of politics, controversy, and power. I know the players, I know the stories, and now I'm bringing you inside. When You Know, Sundays at 5 p.m. on WABC Radio, and When You Know Unleashed, wherever you get your podcasts. Because with me, you never know who's going to show up.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi. Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Sunday morning. Well, with us today is Michael Cohen, and he's a good friend of the president's. And they were good friends for many, many years. And like good friends, they had a few arguments, but guess what? They're good friends again. Michael Cohen, welcome to WABC. And tonight is your preview on your show on your own on WABC. So talk to us about it.
You know, it's called When You Know, because unfortunately there's so much misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation out there. And yeah, John, I'm extremely thankful to you and WABC and actually the president for blessing this union here where I'll be able to get my voice out there in order to provide facts for what's going on. Because there's so many fakes that are out there, whether you see it in AI, whether you see it in the journalistic, or I should say unjournalistic reporting on television and in the media.
And you talk about AI. A funny thing happened a couple of days ago. In the Europeans and the Greeks, they were so mad that the possibility of the president giving F-35s to Ankara, that they created an AI of President Clinton criticizing President Trump, which I know. Because I know President Clinton for a long time, that President Clinton would never do that. And I talked to him. I sent him the copy of the AI thing that Greece, some Greek politician or Greek reporter put out. And he says, that's not me. It's fake news.
It's unbelievable. If you think about it, John, first of all, only you would be up at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, texting with President Clinton, because I saw it on your phone. So I don't want to give it away to people, but I did. I saw it on your phone. Only you would be texting with President Clinton, asking him, is it possible that this is true? Where President Clinton then responds back, this is a deep fake AI. He goes, they're incredible what they can do these days.
It's incredible. And the problem is, it's not only us, and we're adults. Kids, 17-year-olds that don't realize what's going on in the world are believers. And is it possible that's how the democratic socialist movement has moved forward?
Well, that's a whole nother story. The democratic socialists, many things are leading to the rise in democratic socialism, much of which is Gen Z, that are being promised things that cannot possibly legitimately occur. When you hear somebody like Mondani turn around saying free housing, free busing, free food, that's your world, John, right? How are they ever going to compete with people like yourself or the other large groups out there that are in the grocery business? They can't. Here's something that anybody who knows anything about politics, business, and life will tell you. Anytime that government sticks their nose into, we'll call it private industry, it fails. It fails miserably. There's fraud, waste, and abuse, bar none.
Understood. And, I went on Fox last week, and we talked about Mondani and we talked about Zoran. And I said, instead of having 5 stores that they're going to spend $70 million on. Maybe they should spread the among all the supermarkets, all the bodegas, and I said to them, maybe if you want them to reduce the price of eggs, or maybe you want them to reduce the price of bread, if you're going to reduce the price of eggs for $1, maybe you give them $1 credit off their real estate taxes.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Instead of wasting $70 million that cannot possibly work, it is fundamentally impossible for government to be in this business. Instead of them doing that, why don't they give me $70 million and I'll go build for them 500 apartments in New York City, because that's another promise.
Well, I gave them a better deal. I said for $70 million, I'll build you 10 stores, 15 stores instead of 5. And in 6 months, not in 6 years, and not in 3 years, not in 4 years.
Yeah, well, anytime, like I said, government gets involved, there's fraud, waste, and abuse. They take that $70 million. Someone's already in government thinking how they're going to whack it up for their own pocket.
Now, you have a 5 o'clock show tonight.
I do.
And tell us what you're going to talk about, and tell us what your mission is. And eventually you want a Monday through Friday show. I understand that. But tell us what your mission is to tell people and to disclose to people and to bring people to light.
So I want people to understand that I play what I call center aisle, because I'm slightly left of center. I always have been. It's funny, Trump used to say, no, Michael, you're not. You're slightly right of center. I'm a fiscal conservative and a social moderate. I always have been and I always will be. I'm not here to turn around and to play one side or the other. That's why my first guest is going to be Anthony Scaramucci. My second guest is going to be Jerry Falwell Jr. I want people to understand the president. I want people to understand that not every single thing that he does is either right or fundamentally wrong. There's somewhere in between. There can be two truths. Both things can be right at the same time. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. And whether you agree with the president on an issue or you don't, I want people to understand we can have our conversation about it, but the agenda for the United States is set not by you, not by me, not by the listeners, but by the President of the United States, who was elected to do a job. Now, we all have the right to agree or to criticize, but that agenda, again, belongs to the administration. And I try to give my perspective as somebody who has known President Trump very closely for a very long time. I want to give a different type of a perspective in hopes that people get an idea from a centrist point of view.
Now, you worked with President Trump when he was running for. He thought of running for governor, then he wanted to run for president, and you were running the campaign for a while, and also you were doing some of his other stuffs, litigations, and
so I was brought on in 2007 as executive vice president of the Trump Organization and special counsel to Donald Trump. So yes, in 2011, it all started with one piece of paper where people said that 5% actually said that they would like to see Trump run for the presidency. I brought it to his attention. He told me to look at it. The campaign consisted in 2011 and then at the beginning of 2015, the campaign consisted of two people, Donald Trump and me.
Understood. Well, I look forward to listening to you at 5 o'clock on Sunday on WABC. Worldwide, 178 countries in 50 states. On your iPhone, 77 WABC app. And on your computer, WABCradio.com. And thank you so much. And in the New York area, 770 on your dial.
Amen to that.